Back on Inside Tennessee with our panel to recap our discussion of the Knoxville City Council election. Again, Tuesday is election day. Susan, you have talked often on this program about the importance of knocking on doors. How would you say that weighs in a city election like this one?
Well, certainly in the primary, it's a big deal because you can knock on doors in your district and certainly have an impact. In the citywide election, which these are, it's a little bit more difficult to do, but you can certainly have your volunteers out in various parts of the city where you know the turnout is heavy and where your base votes are. Then you should definitely be out knocking on doors. And I know some of the candidates are the Republican group, at least are out knocking on doors. I suspect the Democrats are as well, or the current incumbents. I won't call them Democrats since they have not identified themselves as that. But knocking on doors in a local race is incredibly important. It doesn't cost a lot of money to do, and you get that face-to-face, and that may be the only time that you will ever see that person that's challenging or is an incumbent in person. If you don't go to these county, city meetings that they have and where you've got the candidates there, the forums, you're not ever going to see them. So it's still a very effective way to win an election.
The most effective way to win. Don, let's hear from you on that as well. And I just want to throw in money because in this city council election, we have seen probably more money raised than we have in recent history. Susan, in the past, you said candidates could expect to have to raise about $25,000. We've seen triple that in some cases in this election. We'll get into the numbers after Election Day. But Don, what do you make of money versus knocking on doors?
Well, they're both important. I'll point out, or I'll remind our viewers, that we would not have the mask wonder, Glenn Jacobs, as our county mayor, had Brand Anders got out there and knocked on 100 doors. He didn't knock on any doors, and he lost by, it was, 16 23. Or 22 votes?
23 votes.
Yeah, 23 votes. And he made a point of saying, I didn't really knock on any doors at all. And so, like Susan said, it's very important. Money is important, but as Susan was right, you could usually run a race for about $25,000. We have one race where at least one candidate has raised right at $100,000, and his opponent, that's the Clanaris Ryder race, Lauren Ryder, also has a similar substantial sum as the incumbent. And that's remarkable. It's sad that it's costing that much money now to run and be a public servant, but it really is the wave of the future. And this isn't, I don't think there's a lot of out-of-town money or out-of-state money or dark money coming in. This is raised locally in the old-fashioned way, but knocking on doors and raising money is a proven strategy in these smaller races.
And I'll just mention to our viewers, if you want to see who is giving to the candidates, you can do that right now. If you go to the Knox County Election Commission website, you can pull up and see who has given to one candidate or the other. That information is public.
I was just going to say, just sort of chiming in with Don, I think this will be the election we remember and go back to and say, this is the one where sort of the money switch got thrown into a higher gear.
Mm-hmm. Any other
That's
closing
right, and we've
thoughts?
seen it.
Oh, go ahead.
I say, and we've seen it at all levels. I mean, when we look at even like the last couple of Senate races and certainly the presidential race and things, even Tim Burchett's race. I mean, we're just seeing the money escalate further and further and further. So it's not just a local trend. It's been a trend nationally and regionally for the last, I'd say, 8 years.
Former Mayor Victor Ashe made the point in a story we did this week. He's a Republican, Susan, that your political philosophy really doesn't matter if you're fixing potholes. But other people might make the argument that, yes, it does matter when you're talking about zoning issues and the values you have there. What about the former mayor's point there? And does political philosophy have some influence in a body like Knoxville City Council?
I think it does. I certainly appreciate everything that Mayor and Ambassador Ashe has said this week. And I think one word of warning to Daniel Herrera, our new county GOP chairman, don't ever get in a fight with Victor Ashe. He was known as Bulldog back when he ran for the Senate against Albert Gore Jr., and there's a reason. So warning to all folks who are taking on Victor Ashe in any kind of an argument. But yeah, I do think there is some political philosophy that does matter when you get in local races. Bigger government or smaller government, higher taxes, less taxes, or reduced taxes. So there are some big picture things that parties do stand for, and I think that's one of the things that's important. Now we've had Republicans and Democrats running the city of Knoxville and serving in city council. So we generally know who they are, what their party is. This time it's just a little bit more obvious.
Susan Williams and Don Bosch, we appreciate the analysis. We'll see you certainly post-election day for a breakdown of what did matter and if indeed the switch was flipped in this election. Get out there and vote. Tuesday is the election. Let's fill more chairs.